chat, go get your blankies, go get your snuggies, get yourself a drink, get comfy, because it's time for a yapping session. I have not had a book hangover in what feels like forever. I fear that if I do not make this video and start rambling away, I am never going to move on. We are running on no plans, no schedule, just pure rant. If you haven't read the series, especially Onyx, I mean, you're free to stay, but I'm just saying, I make no promises that you're gonna understand absolutely anything I'm about to say. As much as I'm making this video for those who did read Onyx Storm, I think those who are starting a little later also deserve some loving. We do plan on making videos for Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Those videos, I am going to be talking about obviously what's going on in the book, my theories and my thought process while I had reading those without spoiling the rest of the series. So stay tuned for the Fourth Wing and Iron Flame spoiler videos. Y'all know Onyx Storm ended on such a freaking cliffhanger. We're gonna be spending most of the time just talking about said theories and the ones that I think are gonna happen. I wanted to actually make this video the moment that I finished reading because I was just swimming in thoughts. That night, I was barely sleeping because I would wake up thinking about said book. It was really bad, guys. Sitting off to the side because I'm going to be adding things onto the screen. We're also going to be referring to a lot of her interviews that I've listened to. Like I mentioned before, we're running off of no plans, no schedule. We're just gonna jump right into it. And is it just me, or is Riddick and Dane gonna have an extremely important role in the next couple books? I don't know a single person who doesn't love Riddick right now. I know a lot of people think Riddick is going to die. I don't think it helps that Rebecca has mentioned that in the next book, someone that we all come to love is going to die. And a lot of people have been speculating Riddick, but I don't think it's going to be Riddick. The fact that his ice-wielding signet gets a power-up, and we know that he can probably freeze blood from within, I feel like it's gonna play a very big role. I don't know why, where, or how. The fact that we referred to Xaden's mind as ice, Violet uses that term a lot, not steel, not brick wall, or anything like that. She uses the word ice. And I feel like the fact that Riddick can now probably freeze from inside, like internally, might have some type of tie, is my theory. I'm not sure if they even relate at all, but I found that to be very fascinating. I also think Riddick might have a second signet. Couple of reasons. I think it's very strange that he wants to be on the Quest Squad so bad. I know he says something along the lines of the Iron Squad splits up, or if it's just one of us alone, something bad always happens. Kind of seems like an excuse or half lie, half truth kind of situation to me. What really made me think that way was during the bookstore scene. Riddick, I don't remember exactly what he says, I'm gonna put it on the screen, but that comment alone even got Violet like, oh, immediately I was like, oh, that's a little strange. That's very strange. Then before they go into battle, he looks far into the distance. He's so distracted. Then Rhiannon has to like snap him back into reality. Aside from Riddick, I do think Dane is gonna play a very big role. We actually don't know much about him. We don't know his father's signet, and I have seen a lot of people say that it might be mind control, and Dane has been under that influence of mind control, which I kind of see, but I also don't know if signets are genetic like that. Just because your parents have a mind signet, does the kids also get it? Like, I don't know if that's true. What I do think is gonna happen though is Dane's gonna get another signet. I don't think he has one right now. I only say that because when Imogen uses her rock wielding, earth wielding, whatever it's called, signets, and Garrett kind of like vanishes from the sky, those are the signets that they hid from everyone. His reaction of being like, we're gonna be talking about that later. I don't think he knows that second signets exist. Therefore, I don't think he has manifested his yet, if he is gonna get one. It seems like a lot more people are going to have more signets. The only way we know that writers can get a second signet is if their dragons was bonded to a writer previously that was part of their family. We really don't know anything about dragons, how they operate. There's a chance that even the names that they give their writers are not really their real names. There might be more dragons who bond with writers within the same family line. There's a chance that Kath, which is Dane's dragon, might be a previous writer's dragon in the same family, which I can see that happening. Riddick is a little different because Atrum is literally the same age as Riddick, so I don't think he had a previous writer. Riddick might be his first, but regardless, my guess is both of them are probably going to manifest another signet. So that's gonna lead me all the way to the ending. Like I said, we're jumping around, so just stick with me here. We're gonna be talking about the new brother and the sibling in Xaden's POV. This is the biggest thing that's been on my mind. It's been driving me absolutely bonkers. Let's talk about the new brother first. If you've seen that interview where Rebecca talks about what we should look out for to figure out who the new brother is, we get two hints. Someone who feels like they haven't done enough, and number two is someone we know is missing. My top choices is Garrick. I'm putting all my money on Garrick. Number two is gonna be Auric, and my third guess will be Bodhi. I know a lot of people think it's gonna be Riddick Sawyer, Dane. Here's why I don't think it's gonna be those three. Sawyer, from the beginning of the book, ever since he lost his leg, we know that he feels like he's not worth it to be a writer anymore. We also know that Sawyer is repeating first year because he didn't get a dragon his first year. But I think that scene where he climbs back onto his dragon, or he at least attempts to, and we see him and his dragon bickering, fighting, he finally gets on top. I'm butchering it, but Violet says something along the lines of, does it really matter when your dragon is the one that picked you? Sawyer goes, I think you know the answer to that question. And he smiles. Then the squad comes. They welcome him back. They congratulate him. They are so happy he's willing to be a writer again. He already knows that he has a disability now. He already knows these things. He's not in denial about it. Honestly, I feel like that's all Sawyer really needed, was that support and validation that he could do this again. Then we have Riddick. If it was gonna be anyone from the Iron Squad, which is Rhiannon, Sawyer, or Riddick, my bets were actually gonna be on Riddick. But the more I thought about it, I don't think it's gonna be Riddick. That scene where he finally confronts Violet about Xaden, I feel like that scene is so much more significant than we think it is. I can't imagine him turning Venom after making her draw boundaries with Xaden. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense in my head. Dane as well. I know people are taking that one line that Sloane said, that he has way too much power, as he probably channeled before. My interpretation of that is he's gonna get another signet, so I rule that one out as well. We also know that Imogen and Brennan couldn't have been the ones to turn Venom because both of them were with Violet when she woke up. Then we come to the three that I think is probably gonna most likely happen. Bodhi is definitely a logical choice. Throughout the whole book, Bodhi keeps telling him, no, I don't care about being the next Slayer, I just want to help, like, let me be out there with you guys. But Xaden keeps telling him no. Then we get to the end when it's Theophany, Violet, and Bodhi outside. Bodhi's signet, which is countering other signets, he thinks he's doing something, but then Violet comes to the realization Theophany's signet is not lightning like her, but it's storm wielding, which is supposed to be the balance for her mother. There's balance in magic. So Theophany is the storm wielder for the Venom. Lilith Sorengale, which is the mom, was the storm wielder for non-Venom people. We now know this. Violet tells Bodhi to get the heck out of there because he's basically not doing anything with the signet. Obviously, she didn't say it like that. She didn't mean it like that. Then we get to the ending where Bodhi is probably one of the missing people, though it's not confirmed. We can guess that because Violet is actually now the Duchess of Trendor, meaning Bodhi, who was supposed to be next in line, is nowhere to be seen. People are thinking that he probably channeled because we see in Imogen's POV, he is growing up on the floor. We also know Kira, his dragon, is the one that took the most hits during this battle. So people are assuming that in order to save his dragon, he had no choice but to channel magic himself. That is why he's probably missing, and that is why he is no longer the next heir in line. As much as the process makes sense for him to be Venom, Bodhi doesn't give me someone who thinks he's worthless though. I think Bodhi definitely feels infuriated because Xaden's not letting him help, but I think Bodhi knows that he can help. Bodhi knows that he can do something. He knows how powerful he is. So I think Bodhi knows his self-worth. They're just not letting him do it. But then I saw one video, and I don't want it to be true, but I feel like it might be. We know there's a video out there where Rebecca mentions that the person that's gonna die in the fourth book that we loved is gonna die earlier in the book. I think it might be Bodhi. It makes sense. It really does. We love Bodhi. But to see him throwing up on the floor, we know that Kira took the most hits in this battle. I mean, as much as I don't want to believe it, I feel like it is a high possibility. Xaden always referred to Liam, Garrick, Bodhi as his brothers. For him to use the term new brother, people are taking that and they're running, which I get it. So if we're going by that logic, I think Auric is a high possibility for a lot of reasons. I definitely think Auric is one of those missing right now with Bodhi and Garrick. This little first year is running around this battlefield, not listening to a single thing his seniors are telling him to do. He's just doing his own little thing. So not only do we not know what this kid is up to, but the fact that we know that he has manifested his precognition, the timeline for him to manifest probably happened around the same time as the Basgiath War, which is when Xaden turned. So when Xaden mentions this brother knowing about him being Venom for 5 months, right? I can very much picture Auric going up to Xaden himself, either asking him because he doesn't know if this is his signet manifesting and he just wants to like confirm about it, or he warned Xaden about it. But I do think it's possible that Auric could have gone to Xaden himself way in the beginning to talk about it. So therefore, Auric is one of the people who know about Xaden being Venin. On paper, the only people that know is Violet, Bodhi, Garrick, and Imogen. But if we are running with that new brother talk, I think there's a high chance that Auric probably already knew about it because of his precognition signet. He also, again, can't be vouched for because no one knows what this kid was doing all throughout the war, the battle, whatever you want to call it. Most obvious logical answer, which is why I think a lot of people don't agree with it, is Garrick. I think this is where people don't think it's him, which is her second part of her statement. Someone who doesn't think they did enough. Hear me out. Objectively, Garrick has done so much in this book. He was by Xaden's side 24/7 as his bodyguard to make sure he doesn't hurt anyone, hurt himself, for months. Like every single waking hour, Garrick was with Xaden. If you look back on Imogen's POV, the way that I kind of read that whole scene with Garrick walking away from her, his tone, his body language, he seems so defeated. The last things that he says to her is, if I go back to Orisha, I will not make it back. He is burnt out. Like, we know he's burnt out. He knows he's burnt out. Imogen knows he's burnt out. He's been running around Var, Trendar for hours. Not only that, but he also has 2 signets, so he probably was using his wind signet as well. So he's burnt out. He's at his wit's end. The very last thing he says is, I need to find a way to get more power. There's a part of him that you can tell by his tone and his body language. He doesn't think it's enough what he did. He doesn't deserve a break. He doesn't deserve to go rest in Orisha while everyone is fighting. He needs to do more. Even if you think about it logically as humans, right? We can do so much for something or for someone, but no matter what, there's always going to be a part of you that thinks that you could have done more. And I feel like that's exactly what Garrick is thinking. Not only that, but we know Garrick also was one of the first people to know about Xaden turning. It's probably the most obvious answer. To a certain degree, I also think that Rebecca probably gave us the answer, and yet we're still like, nah, that's too easy. Can't be it. If we go to the sibling talk, right, which is a language that Xaden has never used. When I first read it, I definitely thought about Jack Barlow. They both are siblings now because both of them are turned. Xaden mentions that his sibling hates being Venin. Jack Barlow loves being Venin. He loves that he turned. So far for the sibling talk, I have seen 3 main people. I think all 3 of them could be a potential, so I'm not ruling out any of them. Let's start off with Imogen, only because I think she's the less likely in my opinion. So with her, people are saying that she is so adamant on dyeing her hair pink all the time because she is just like Violet. Every single time her hair grows out, her tips will become silver, so she has to dye it to hide her identity, which is a very far-fetched idea, but I see it. One thing that I thought about, which I haven't really seen many people mention, which I think could be a possibility that it's Imogen, is her signet. There's a chance either no one knows about it because she has the power to erase their memory. Neolin and Brennan, I think one of them are definitely Venin. I don't think Neolin's dead at all. Brennan is either working so hard to find a cure for Xaden because he's trying to save Neolin, or he himself is the sibling that Xaden is talking about and he's trying to find a cure for himself. There's so much that we don't know about how Brennan is even alive. Violet realizes that he doesn't have any markings. Let me know down below the way it really happened. Doesn't it go somewhere along the lines, if Neolin did save Brennan by becoming Venin, he would have marks on his skin? Was it the other way around? Because Sloane doesn't give Dane. There is like some correlation that Violet was trying to do between Dane, Brennan, Sloane, and the markings that Brennan's supposed to have or not supposed to have, or something like that. Rebecca does mention there is going to be sibling betrayal. I do think it might be Brennan because from the beginning, ever since we met him, I found him to be a little sus. I'm just hoping that if it is Brennan, he, as much as Xaden hates being what he is, if he's playing the part to just play the part, he's doing a real damn good job at it with saving his sister, fixing Violet's bones every single time. I'll give him that. I will. Next is a fun little theory. A lot of people are actually on this boat, but I don't think either of them makes sense to me. Riddick and Bodhi both have a crush on Violet. Riddick to me just seems like an extremely protective and extremely loyal friend. I feel like if it was Rhiannon or Sawyer in the same situation that Violet was in, he would act the exact same way. I also think a part of him is carrying the words that Liam had said to him, which was protect her like you're me. I think Riddick is taking that quite literally. So he finds the urge to be like her bodyguard, but I don't think it's with any romantic intention. I mean, we are in her POV though, so there is a high chance that I'm just glossing it over the way that she is. Bodhi, same thing. Marked ones, Bodhi, Garrick, Liam, they just see her as Zayden's girlfriend, meaning she's part of them. I just get very protective older brother vibes. Maybe it's just because I love Violet and Zayden together that I don't see any other potential love interests. I am one of those people who absolutely hate the memory erasing trope. It's just not for me, and it is always at the end of the book. Just when things are about to get good, it's gone. And I'm just... it drives me insane. I will admit that in other books when they use it, I just don't see it being a necessity. I feel like we could have definitely gone through our issues in different ways. But I will say, in Onyx Storm, the memory wipe did need to happen, especially with Zayden now being fully turned, even though we know he is in control because Violet is probably the cure. Her little I love you at the end has stopped him from completely going berserk. And then he opens his mind up to Sigale to see his thoughts. We know that they also still have their connection. When I first read that, the plan that Zayden had and talking to Sigale about was the egg idea. I don't know what else they could be talking about at the moment. People are speculating that Garrick is probably the one who is delivering the eggs to... I forgot which island it was. I mean, I wasn't thinking Garrick would be the one delivering it, but definitely whoever is delivering it, maybe it's Arik. Maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe that's what Arik was doing. Oh my gosh. I just thought of that. Arik was with them as well as Garrick was when they were going about the islands. They definitely confronted Violet. This whole marriage thing that happened, Violet was definitely awake and aware at one point to sign the papers, whatever she needed to do. The fact that Sigale was even like, our fate is in her hands, I'm sure she was talking about Violet. The only way for them to run away, whatever they're planning on doing, Violet, I 100% see telling Imogen to erase her memory. Violet, on the other hand, I either think she is the cure to Venom, or the iridescence and Darna's species can reverse it. A lot of people have come to the speculation that her signet is not lightning, but pure power. And her pure power signet manifested into lightning, and that's just how she's wielding it at the moment. We also know she's able to pull magic from the sky. That is why when she is outside of the wards, she's the only one that can talk to her dragons. She's the only one that can use her signet, even though she doesn't think it's her. Talking about when the three of them are fighting, Dane, Zayden, and her lightning strikes, it's definitely her. She just doesn't know it's her. There's no magic out there. I think the only reason why she can wield it is because she's pulling it from the sky. But people are thinking that if she can pull out power from the ground, she can find a way to also release that power back into the earth. I get it, but I don't get it. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. The fact that Violet's path isn't chosen right now, people are saying that she was probably born from Venom, which I do see possible. When her mom was pregnant with her, she had a very high fever. Something else about her birth story ties her together with being born Venom, and that's why she has the silver hair just like Venom people do. Even her eyes are not one solid color. People are also saying Brennan might be born Venom as well because he has amber eyes. If she really is born from Venom, she probably is the cure to it as well. But I do think the iridescence, the irids, are probably part of it in some way, shape, or form. Can we just quickly talk about Darna leaving? That broke my heart. It made so much sense when Violet thinks that she knows why riders die when their dragons die. That pain I felt with her was indescribable. I can't imagine having that bond be real and losing that bond. I think I would actually die. It was so hard. Good thing she has Taryn. And Darna leaving, our pride and joy, broke my heart. But that ending was so confused. Is she back? She said, I'm not gonna let them burn you. I saw someone say that, and Darna only said that because during the terrorist rebellion, all the rebellion leaders were burned. That was their death sentence, was being burned. She wasn't gonna let the same thing happen to Violet. Maybe Darna was part of the plan for her to be Duchess, so they can't kill her. She is confusing me so much. Is she back? Is the bond fully intact again? Or is she just able to like talk to her the way that the Irids did? The high-pitched sound. I know someone was saying something about the high-pitched sound too, that it's their way of finding people who are abominations, aka Venom, and that's how they found out that Zayden was Venom. Is that what Darna's using to talk to Violet again? Or is she fully back? Is she just talking to her from like a I don't know guys. I don't know what's going on with Darna. It breaks my heart that we don't know. Do you guys think Taryn knows? probably right. He probably knows what's going on. I'm sure Gale has told him. I don't think Signan's work on dragons, so I don't think Imogen could have erased his memory. From the Zynal Island, it was all about luck. That island was very interesting. I know people are taking that broken compass to mean something, which I think it will be. I don't know if it's gonna be to find Xaden. I feel like that's kind of cliche. People are also thinking Auric might be the one to be Venin because they give him a broken mirror. When you're Venin, your soul is basically like shattered. Xaden with the empty box, when he told her to put her compass in there, that empty box is supposed to signify his empty soul, and when she puts that in there, she's the only one that can, I guess, protect him from himself for becoming completely empty. Riddick was, because of another theory, a dragon corresponds with a island that corresponds with a god. I'll write it down on the side. Riddick, he got a kiss. People are saying that the brown dragon is favored by the god, and the island that they're at, I think it corresponded in some way. The god picked Riddick to be their most favored or favorite. I really do like the whole god island dragon scenario situation. I love the idea that marked ones could have a second signet. I remember when I first was reading into how the marked ones got their mark. Their marking that they got was supposed to correlate or something with the dragon who killed their parents. So when I first heard that, I was like, technically they're marked with 2 dragons. You know what I mean? So when I first heard that, I was like, oh, well, that's an interesting thought, but whatever. But now we are seeing that most of the marked ones, if not all of them, have a second signet. Garrick is a walker. We know Imogen is a rock wielder or something like that. Bodhi says that he doesn't have one. If he stays alive, I'm pretty sure he does. This book has truly wrecked me. But can I say how much I love Garrick? Garrick, Xaden, and Riddick are my top 3 characters. I absolutely adore them. Auric is probably going to be up there the more we get further along. I just love how he's just a little shithead. Dane is growing on me. You know how people saw him as Tamlin, where they fell in love with Dane and then Xaden comes along, which is, you know, aka Reese? No. I found Dane to be extremely annoying. Why do you keep telling her to leave? And then the whole interrogation thing happened, but I love the fact that he is getting a redemption arc. I can't say that I love him yet. I do appreciate the effort of trying to be better. Kat, I actually don't get why people hate her so much. Like, I understand the whole Iron Flame situation where she was an extremely jealous ex. Maybe it's because I've never been in a relationship before. I don't even know what it feels like to love someone in that capacity, to even get jealous over. I understand why one would be jealous, but to hate her to the amount of how much people did, I found it to be a little too much. I don't know, I like Kat. I love her signet. I think her, I guess they don't call it signet. The Griffin Riders don't call it signet. What is it? Like, emotion amplifying abilities is extremely cool. Girl is such a badass to me. I don't know. I like the girl. I think I wanted to hate her because everyone else hated her, but I couldn't hate her. Rhiannon, we love Rhiannon. Mira kind of gets my nerves a little bit. She's definitely very overprotective. She definitely gives like that tough middle child. I'm curious to see what the grandmother's gonna do. We know that they've been talking a lot about her. Maybe she's the only one, the only teacher that's mentioned that can help Violet control her power. People are also saying it might be the Sage, but I mean, the grandma kind of makes sense to me. Also, wow. And Darna giving her Dreamwalker? Mind blown. I was definitely on that boat that she's an intrinsic. I guess I just didn't think it would manifest in the way of a Dreamwalker. So I'm really curious to see how that's gonna play out. If it was gonna be an intrinsic, I thought she'll be like a mind reader. I know Xaden's is an intention. Technically, Dane is also some sort of intrinsic, flipping through memories. And I thought Violet would be somewhere along that line. But to actually enter one's mind in an unconscious state is so cool, and I'm so curious how she's gonna explore that. But I love Garrick. I love Garrick. He has my heart. He really does. Also, I just want him and Imogen to get together already. To be honest, I don't know what I was rambling about for the last, I don't even know how long it's been, but it really helped. I think this definitely helped me process, also get it out of my system, because I don't have any friend who read Fourth Wing yet. Absolutely none. If there was a topic that I didn't get to and you guys wanted to talk about, y'all, I'm all up for discussion. There's a part of me that regrets reading the book so soon after it came out because now I have to wait, which is fine. Rebecca definitely deserves a rest and, you know, to not work 15-hour days. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!